Good morning, students. In my previous class, I have read the poem The Darkling Thrush. Actually, I went on a line-by-line explanation. In this class, I'll be discussing the themes in detail. As you know, the themes are very important in order to decode the poem. And these are the themes on which the whole poem revolves. So, what we have read as of now, Darkling Thrush is a poem by English poet and novelist Thomas Hardy. Here in this poem, the poet represents the desolate world in front of us. It is represented as an extended metaphor suggesting the decay of the Western world. Written in December in the year 1900, it shows the last day of the 19th century, which is full of desolation and sadness and enveloping darkness. So there is no hope. All of a sudden, amidst such bleak and barren weather, a bird, the thrush, bursts onto the scene with its singing, producing hope. After listening to its song, the poet got amazed. He started thinking, what is the cause for the bird singing? Why is it singing so joyfully? Is there any reason which is known to the bird and does not known to me? It shows that the bird song can be a symbol of rebirth, which is restored through religious faith. Now, let us begin with the first important theme, that is nature and the decline of human civilization. The Darkling Thrush is a poem representing the winter landscape in front of us, which the poet describes in considerable detail. It is exhibited in front of us as an extended metaphor. What is extended metaphor? Extended metaphor is a metaphor which unfolds across multiple lines, or even a paragraph of a text, making use of other interrelated metaphors within an overarching one. Here, the bleak and barren landscape is showing us the decay of Western world. So we will get to see certain other metaphors are also used by the poet in every stanza of the poem. All these are very much symbolic to show the decay of the West. Here the poet is mourning upon the death of the West, upon the death of the 19th century. Here, from this respect, you can call this poem as an elegy. Now, the poet is conveying that somehow he cannot find any source of rebirth and resurrection. Rather, everything is dead and damaged with absolutely hopelessness. So, here we can see the West has failed to take care of its natural and cultural resources. In the first stanza, we have seen the poet compared the tangled vine stems with the strings of a broken lyre. Now you can see lyre is an instrument which is a very significant symbol of poetry. At the same time, it somehow is very much related to the cultural accomplishment of Western culture. And here it is shown to us that its strings are broken. So we can understand the poet is actually referring towards the culture of the West world, which has demolished. And now here we can see that vine stems are tangled against the sky. We can see they are not maintained and pruned. It also shows that the Western culture is not maintained by its people. And then we can also see the poet is leaning on a coppice gate. Coppice is a maintained forest, and now the vine stems which are tangled, it stands in contrast to the coppice. It shows that it has not been cut back. Okay, so here again you can see another symbol. Since the landscape is a metaphor for the state of Western culture, it proves that people have become failed and they acted as poor caretakers of Western cultures. These images of landscape can be a reference to the industrialization that recently took part here, and the economy of the West world has shifted from farming to factory. As a result, we are suffering from endless pathos due to the decay of rural culture. By inserting the phrase shrunken and dry, the poet tries to evoke the thought among ourselves that the cultural end is permanent, and the poet cannot even see what will come next, and he is very much sure about the fact that there will be no process of rebirth and resurrection that is going to take place further. Next theme is hope and renewal. Now the poet describes the bird, that is the thrush, in the second half of the poem, and its song is described as a full-hearted evensong. Now evensong is a ritual in Anglican church, and its song is a blessed hope. Blessed is very much symbolic to religious ritual, and hope, by hope, the poet is not making us understand like it's not normal hope, but it is very much tied to Christianity, the life after death, the rebirth, the renewal and resurrection. So maybe the bird is a harbinger of hope. By its singing, it is actually giving us a message that everything is not ended now. Hope is still left here. Again, the poet represents the bird with its full description. How the bird was thin, gaunt, pale and old, and it is singing the note of hope. How is that possible? Two contrasting images we can see. So here the poet is saying the presence of a happy bird in the midst of such drudgery is quite contrasting. Even if the poet is curious, is inclined to know the cause of happiness behind the bird's song, then the poet is questioning his own self. Is that possible? The harbinger of hope itself is going to face its own end. The third theme is despair and isolation. If you closely look at the poem, you will get to see the poet's approach towards the poem is not very much objective. Rather, it is closely related to the poet's own personal emotions. By these images, like centuries crops, the frost is described as spectre grey. Now the spirits are powerless as I. So these images described by the poet shows how negative he is towards his approach. And amid such hopelessness, the thrush is singing so joyfully with its dying condition. As I have said, the bird's condition is not well. It is going to face its end maybe. If it can sing so joyfully even in such condition, why can the poet not be so happy? So maybe there can be a message that after sadness, happiness is bound to come. So we just have to be patient. We just have to cope up with the situation, and it is the cycle of nature. Every melancholy is followed by innumerable and inexplicable joy. So we should not forget this message. And towards the end of this theme, I am again reminded of the lines, that is, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? I'll suggest all of you to please go through the themes well, because this will be really helpful in framing your own answers. And the theme, the central idea, the background, these are very important, and this should be cleared to you all before you proceed to attempt any answer. Now, this much for today's class. If you have any query, if you have any doubt regarding these themes and regarding the poem, please feel free to write in the comment section, and read well. Till then, take care of yourself. Stay happy, stay blessed. We'll meet in the next class. Have a good day ahead. Thank you.